dolls, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is a little bit of a vintage show and tell, a haul of all the 1960s maternity pieces that I have, as well as some baby clothes. When I was pregnant with my son 3 years ago, I really knew that I wanted to keep on dressing vintage, and I had no idea how to approach this because I basically went on eBay, on Vinted, and just searched for vintage maternity wear, but it was incredibly hard to find pieces. And so over the past years and that pregnancy and this pregnancy, I've definitely accumulated a little bit of a collection that I would love to share with you. These are pieces that are really special to me because it's been such a hassle finding them almost. I don't know what it is with vintage maternity wear. I do think it might be because these pieces were given down from one generation to the next, and so maybe not that many survived. And then it's also important to note that in the 60s, maternity wear wasn't that much of a thing yet. So a lot of people would just wear like what I'm wearing today, something that's like a little stretchy. All these pieces are vintage and from the 60s as well, but not actual maternity wear. However, there were a couple of pieces. They're kind of like two categories. You could buy some in store, but then a huge thing was also to sew these pieces yourself. So I'm just going to share all the wonderful pieces that I have with you, as well as some baby clothes, because I have been thrifting a little lately for my daughter, and I'm just really excited to share all of these special pieces with you. So what made me really want to share all of this with you was this parcel that I got last week. So I got this by a woman named Saskia, and we met years ago on Vinted, like met in that kind of sense, when I bought something from her. Maybe that's the first piece that I want to show you, because it is the first vintage maternity piece that I ever owned, or pieces almost. It is this lovely set that I wore a lot while being pregnant with my son, and that I'm going to wear all summer long this pregnancy. I adore this. So it's this little pair of shorts. These sit quite high up, and then there's a lot of room for your bump here, which is absolutely perfect. It's just honestly such a sweet little set. When I was really pregnant with my son, like towards the end, I could not close this, so I just kind of like had it open and put a little bit of an elastic here. However, I really love the idea of a two-piece set. It is very convenient. This fabric also always reminds me of my grandfather, because he had pillows with the same kind of fabric that I really love. It's such a fun 60s look, and I love the colors and how fun this piece is overall. And then it came with a shirt. Now this shirt is a little big on me, but it's so pretty. It almost looks like a dress when I wear it. Like, you can barely see the shorts. However, the more pregnant I get, obviously, you need more room under here, so it gets shorter in the front. So it's perfect to have these shorts. But this has just been such a go-to look for me, and I absolutely love vintage sets in general. I actually have another one that I'm going to show you in a second. But these are just so great because you just have an outfit that works all together, and I absolutely adore this. This is most definitely handmade. It does not have a tag, and just by the way it is made, it's lined in the front because it was probably like a little thin here, or maybe someone wanted a little bit of extra coverage, and it is lined with this lovely green fabric. But these fabrics are fabrics that you would but these fabrics are more made for like home goods. You can definitely tell. So yeah, you can also just tell by the way that this is sewn that this was made by someone with a lot of love. And honestly, I get sentimental about all vintage pieces, but maternity wear especially. Being pregnant is such a special time in your life, and I love the idea that someone sewed this for their own pregnancy and then probably passed it down, and it's been 60 years most likely, and now I have it, and I'm wearing it for my second pregnancy already, and I cannot wait to one day pass this down to my children, or to just someone else who would love to wear this, because I feel like clothes are made to live on, and that's honestly the beauty of it. I often see ads for maternity wear, and I don't like to buy into that. I've never bought like a new maternity piece because I think it is a very wasteful idea. You will see with vintage maternity wear, most pieces you can wear pregnant or not, but with modern maternity wear, a lot of pieces have like ruching here. So if you wear that without being pregnant, it will look weird. It'll look a little odd. And so I just like the idea of having silhouettes that work both pregnant and not. However, coming back to this parcel, when I shared on Instagram that I was expecting another child, she reached out again. She was like, I have a couple more pieces. Would you like them? And it meant the absolute world to me. So first of all, this package came with a lovely letter. It just means so much because these pieces are so special. And then she put some pictures in here. This one is from March of 1937, and it shows a girl named Inge or Inga, it's hard to read, and she's 1 year and 3/4, which is so sweet. I really hope she's still alive. I hope she's still thriving. This is such a sweet picture. I wish I could reunite these pictures. Whenever I see these pictures at thrift stores or flea markets, I always wish that I could reunite them with the people on them. And then there's this picture of, I don't know, it doesn't have a year or anything, but I would assume this is probably from the 30s too, just going off of the clothes. So she reached out originally telling me that she had another vintage maternity set from the 60s, and I'm so excited. This is completely different, and I'm just gonna say, I obviously cannot date these back to the exact year, but from my knowledge of vintage fashion, I'm gonna assume that the blue set that I just showed you is more so from the mid to late 60s, whereas this one is most likely from the early 1960s. So this set is so cleverly made once again, because you have this skirt, and then this was obviously a time where stretchy materials weren't quite the thing yet, and so what they did was to attach buttons here so that it grows, so you don't fully close it, and then also a little string to just tie the skirt however you would like it to fit. And that is very lovely. I need to fix this skirt in a couple of places because it does have some ripped seams. She told me about it and I'm okay with doing that. You can just tell that like it's obviously an old material. I adore the pattern and the color. I think that this is such a sweet and wonderful piece, and then it has this stellar fold down the front, which is just really, really pretty in my opinion. But yeah, I really, really love this set. And then obviously the skirt comes with a top, which is this one. And this is such a lovely little piece. I already tried it on, so that's why it's not fully buttoned. I just love the attention to detail here. And I think this might be bought. Yeah, this definitely had a tag at some point, so this was store-bought. This is what the top looks like. So it's like a little blouse. This kind of silhouette was really popular with 1960s maternity wear in general. Just kind of like a little blouse that is almost like an A-line cut, just a little oversized. It's almost like a mini dress, but it is too short, especially with a bump. Has some pockets here. I also really like these thick plastic buttons. They're just so distinctive for the time, and then it does have a crisp white little collar and that same detail on the sleeves, which I find absolutely lovely. It does have some shoulder padding, which also shows me that this is most likely from the late 50s going into the 60s. This is such a sweet style as well. I absolutely adore it. I cannot wait to wear this. I have not had a chance yet, but I'm gonna fix all the seams and wear it because this is a very nice and light and breathable piece. She added a couple more pieces to this collection and parcel that made me so excited because, as said, the history of these clothes, and this is something that I've never came across. So I breastfed my son for like almost a year, and I definitely want to do it again with my daughter. And I had no idea that vintage nursing bras were a thing. She sent 3 over, 2 are the same and then one's a little different. This is one of them, which is just so lovely. I honestly love a good cotton bra like this. It's very, very nice and breathable, doesn't have any boning or anything, at least not here in the front. And then you can unbutton it, which is really nice. And you can also unbutton the strap. I honestly thought that I could probably wear this even as like a little shirt. It almost looks like a little vintage milkmaid top, but it's such a sweet look and it's so nicely made with so much attention to detail. And then this is the back. It almost has like a corset character. It does have some boning, But I really like this. And what is very classic with underwear and like undergarments from the 60s is that this is white cotton, because you could wash this at 90 degrees, which is what most people did back then. They would actually like cook it. You would put this in boiling water to just make sure that it is sanitary. And then she sent over 2 of these, which are so cool as well. These are a little more structured like modern nursing bras are. So they have an elastic in the back, which surprisingly still, I mean, it probably was stretchier at some point, but it is still stretchy to some degree, which is really, really cool. It does have these hooks where you can open it, and then also a button down here so that you could technically like, you have quite the room to open this up. It's just easier to access everything if you're wearing like this. This is also why I think that like in the beginning, before stretchy materials were a thing, most maternity wear had buttons down the front, because it's also easy for breastfeeding, and a lot of people right after they give birth still wear maternity clothes for a couple of weeks and months to just, because it takes a while for your body to get back into the shape that it was before. And then it does have, and this is what like modern nursing bras do too, you can unclip it here and then just kind of like roll it down to nurse your child, which is really, really lovely. And it does even have these straps in here, which I think are to support the boob a little more. I tried these on and all of them surprisingly fit me quite well. I'll have to see how I like to move around in them, because obviously it's not like a real bra, it doesn't give you a shape. But then I also like to wear no bra. That's just not an option when I'm pregnant or breastfeeding, because my boobs grow quite a bit and then I don't like that feeling anymore. But I think I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of these 2. And then she also added 2 pieces of like children's wear. So this one, my son got so excited when he saw this. So my son is 2. He absolutely adores boats. It's the sweetest thing. He loves to go down to the water and like go into the boats. And when I saw this, I got so excited because this actually fits him right now. So he's gonna wear that and then pass it down to his sister. I don't think that children's clothes needs a gender or anything. Like, this might be a boy's piece, but I'm definitely gonna put my daughter in this as well because it's so sweet. You will see though that I bought a lot of vintage dresses for my daughter as well, because I also already have so many pants and it's just so very sweet to have dresses. But then she also had this in there, which I think is so cool. This might be from the late 60s, maybe even going into the 70s already. Has buttons up here, some little knitted overalls, which I think is great because our daughter will be born in late September most likely. And so winter is approaching and she can wear this and just be nice and toasty in there. So thank you so much, Saskia, if you're seeing this. Honestly, it means the whole world. I love that I get to meet people through my love for vintage fashion. I love that we hand down these pieces and give them new life over and over again, because it does keep so much of the period and the fashion and the time alive. And then I also went on Vinted and eBay in general to just look for some more maternity wear. And one thing that I found and I immediately ordered was this bathing suit. Now, we spend a lot of time at our local pool. It's lovely, it's right in the woods, it's perfect, there's no chlorine in the water. It's the absolute perfect place to spend all your summer. And during the summer, we will probably go there like 3 times a week and just go bathing. We're actually going there later today. And so I knew I wanted some sort of bathing piece, just because last time I wore my bikini throughout my pregnancy and it didn't really fit me that nicely. And so when I came across this, I knew I needed to have it. This is from probably more from like the very late 60s going into the 70s, a vintage bathing suit. Now, what I absolutely love is obviously the pattern, the fact that it is a little dress, which is so sweet, and then the open back that you can tie and adjust. It fits me like a dream. Absolutely love it. So this is what the front looks like. And what is so great about this is the fact that you kind of like lift this up and then there's a mesh part under here, which is stretchy and has a lot of room for the growing bump. I think that this is such a genius way to go about making a bathing suit. Now, this is one of the few, if not the only, maternity piece that I think isn't as versatile. Like, I would probably not wear this when I'm not pregnant, but I just like the idea of being a little more resourceful by buying pieces that already exist. But I really love this. This is such a beautiful bathing suit. Like if it didn't have the mesh part, I would definitely also wear this as like a regular little bathing suit because it is just so lovely and has a little dress. And I honestly, there's not a lot to say about this besides the fact that I absolutely adore it. And I think just for a little bit of history from the research that I have done, it's interesting because prior to the 60s, being pregnant wasn't seen as something that you go out and like embrace in a sense. And I started to think about it because nowadays when you look on social media, a lot of people will wear crop tops with their pregnancy bumps, and that definitely wasn't a thing in the 60s because being pregnant was something that you kind of like did on your own and it wasn't that big of a conversation in general. And nowadays it gets celebrated more, and I think a lot of that comes from the 60s because you can definitely tell that by the green piece that I showed you in the beginning of the decade, the idea was to hide it more, and then as we go through the decade, it's more on fashion kind of like made a shift to embrace the belly and the bump a little more. Continue with maternity blouses. So this might be my favorite thing. It's just so lovely. It's from the late 60s, and the cut of this is so genius because you have these folds that are kind of like more gathered with the fabric up here, and then down here where your bump is, you have all the room you want. It has a little tie detail to just make it fit you a little nicer, and then it's just so beautifully decorated, the fabric and everything. This is such a lovely and stunning piece, and this is also a bought piece. So this, it doesn't say the brand or anything, but it does have a tag, so I'm just gonna assume. So it is definitely a store-bought piece. I love it. I think that this is one of the most beautiful, most flattering maternity pieces that I have. It's so stunning. It is made with such attention to detail, and I absolutely adore it. And this is definitely something that I could see myself wearing not pregnant anymore. I also love that this is cotton. I wear a lot of polyester and usually I don't mind it, but because I'm pregnant during the summer this time, I'm trying to wear a little more of like cotton and natural materials because it's just going to be a little nicer for the summer. Also, if you would like to see me style all of these outside of just the try on that I'm showing you here, let me know and I can share some styling ideas. Then there's this shirt, which I also really love. This doesn't really look like much unworn, but once you wear it, it does come together with the shape. This reminds me a lot of Sharon Tate and what she wore during her pregnancy. I love the square neckline, and then it's like a thicker, almost like a pullover. It does have these white sleeves and kind of like flare shape. I really love it. I think that this is such a stunning piece. You can hear my neighbors pulling up their blinds. I'm sorry for that, but that is such a sweet and lovely piece. I got these two and the two that I'm about to show you from the same seller, and she couldn't really give me any information on where these were originally from because she had bought them secondhand as well. I think that I'm definitely going to get a lot more wear out of this throughout the end of my pregnancy once it gets colder, but even now when it's like a little more chilly at the end of the day, I will wear that. And I think it is really interesting going back to like the evolution of maternity wear, because this is rather modern. Like this is definitely almost like a sweatshirt, which is so interesting to see how the 60s progressed with maternity wear. And then I have two more blouses or button pieces, which as said, I think is also a huge trend from the 60s because obviously blouses were a huge thing in general, but also because it is very convenient to breastfeed. I have this sweet little blouse that I absolutely adore. I wore this a lot already, and it does have these sweet little bird details, which I think is so sweet. This is honestly such a beautiful piece. My son loves it too because it's just so lovely and he loves birds. And these are kind of like on the verge of being a blouse and a dress, which was that whole baby doll silhouette was popular in the 60s for maternity wear, but also just in general. And so I usually wear these with like something underneath, and it might be a pair of denim short, it might be some sort of short, it might be a little skirt. I'm actually going to sew myself a couple of like maternity friendly shorts. I'm definitely going to take you along. But yeah, I really honestly adore this little blouse. It's such a sweet piece, and these are in great condition. I think that that is something with maternity wear. If you buy it vintage, it's most likely in great condition. At least everything that I've ever came across was, because you only wear it for like a very limited time period, so it doesn't get worn for like years on end. I mean, it might have been passed down through generations, but then also most things from the 60s in general just have a great quality and you can fix them quite easily. Now this piece reminded me so much of like Twiggy. If Mary Quant would have come out with a maternity line, I'm sure it would have looked like this. This is such a cool 60s mod piece. It does have a pocket here, then this wonderful yellow part, the great vintage 60s collar, and then some colorful buttons, and I absolutely adore this piece. This is such a wonderful piece, and I'm gonna wear this a lot when I'm not pregnant anymore as well, but it is so comfortable. It's just such a nice stretchy fabric, and I really love all the colors, and this is just such a young and fun 60s piece that I really adore. Now this one does have a tag as well. It's unfortunately polyacryl, which means it's plastic basically. So that is probably also from the late 60s. I mean, also judging by the cut and everything, this is probably post 1964, and that is also when these materials started to become popular. And then I have one more piece, which I do have a lot of pieces, which I can show you, let me know if you're interested, that aren't designated maternity wear, but that work really well. Like this tie skirt and just like some pieces. However, with this, I do have a feeling that it might have been maternity wear. So this is a baby doll dress. And it's just so lovely. And these were popular in general in the 60s, but something about this just screams maternity to me. So this is just such a sweet little piece as well. I love it. You can twirl around in it. It is quite short, so I usually wear some sort of shorts underneath it. But it's such a beautiful piece, and it's a piece that I wear every summer ever since I had it. This reminds me a lot of kind of like the 1968, 1969 maternity style that, as said, someone like Sharon Tate or Michelle Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas wore. And it's just, it's honestly so lovely, and it adds like this playfulness to maternity wear that I really love to see. So that is all of my 1960s maternity wear. I know this isn't like an extensive collection, but it is quite hard to get your hands on authentic pieces from that time. I will never stop looking, and if I find some more, I will definitely share them with you. I also wanted to share some vintage pieces that I have for my baby and also for my son, because I was thrifting a little lately. I needed to go and get my glucose tests done at my OBGYN, and there's a thrift store for children nearby, and so I went there. However, I do have a couple of pieces that I also just got over the last couple of months. When I got these blouses from Vinted, the lady, or was it eBay? I don't recall. The lady was so nice. She was like, you obviously like the 60s and 70s, and I have some baby pieces. Would you like them? And she added this, which my son is so obsessed with. It's so tiny, but so cute. Oh, I love it. It's a little like Peanuts onesie. I really love terry cloth pieces. Like whenever I find something vintage terry cloth, I will pick it up for me, my son, my husband. I don't care. Everyone gets to wear it because it's just such a great material. But this is so sweet. Such a playful piece. And then she also added this, which is kind of like the same thing. It says, Ich bin das Nesthäkchen. So it means I'm the nestling, which I think is so sweet. And I cannot wait to put her in these. I think that these are so lovely, and even though she's going to be born during fall, I'm definitely going to have her wear this with like some tights and a bodysuit underneath. But this is just such a sweet piece, and it meant the world. But yeah, I do have some more baby pieces and toddler pieces. So maybe let's start with like the vintage baby pieces from the 60s and 70s that I recently picked up. I do have some more, which I will show you in the next couple of videos probably. They're just still tucked away from when I had my son. I got this little onesie, which is so sweet. It does have like a little bit of a collar up here, but then also this. It's terry cloth, which I adore. Has a little feet details, and it's just so sweet. Like, I cannot believe I'm going to have a little one like this again. It's gonna be so lovely. And then I also found, and I'm like very sentimental, even with pieces that don't belong to me yet. But when I saw these, I knew I needed to have them because someone clearly handmade them for like their children or their grandchildren. Just look at this jacket. I don't know if this is from the 60s or not. It might be because these kind of like patterns were everywhere in the 60s. People loved making these, but look at this little jacket. Isn't it so sweet? And then it comes with a matching little bonnet. which is honestly the sweetest little thing. I cannot wait to see her wear all of that. It makes me so excited and a little, I don't know, I'm very emotional about baby things, I guess. And then I found another one. I just love the color, and then my son thought that these were balls to play with, which they're just kind of like the details on this jacket, but I would wear all of this myself as well. But this is like such a lovely color. I love the buttery yellow, and it's gonna be the sweetest thing seeing this on her. And I just know from having my son and experience that you cannot have enough of these pieces, because little kids need to get changed all the time. It comes with another bonnet. And then I picked up some dresses for her. I already showed you, I'm gonna link the vlog here, where I went to the store the last time, a couple of weeks ago, and I already picked up a couple of things, but when I came back they had so many lovely pieces, like this little dress, which is a dream come true. This is definitely for like, let me look at the size. I'm gonna assume, yeah, like a 1.5-year-old. But that's the thing with vintage clothes. I don't buy into seasons. I buy whatever I like. And then for my children, they will grow into that. Like, that is the one thing that you can be sure with children. They're gonna grow into everything. So I picked this up and I absolutely adore it. Just look at the details up here. Then maybe for her first Christmas, or just for, I don't know, I needed to have this. Look at this little 60s dress. They had so many pieces like this still in perfect condition. They're like a little fuzzy or there's something on it, but I can definitely clean all of this. And this is just such a classic little piece. It's so lovely. And I can just assure you that for pieces like this, people in the 60s spend a lot of money. Like, this wasn't cheap, and to just get these pieces on such a good deal now, and they're still in great condition, because as said, the quality was just different back then. It means the world. This is most likely a handmade piece, and someone just made this with so much love for their grandchild or their child. I love vintage sewing patterns, and these are all so sweet, and look at the fabric, and it's just, I don't know, something about these clothes is so special. And then I picked this up, which might be a little unlikely because this is more of like a 90s piece. It's an old H&M piece, but I just thought that this was really sweet, so I wanted to throw it in there. It's Winnie the Pooh, and I just thought it was quite sweet to run around in the summer. Also, because I'm sure some people will comment about this, I don't pressure my children to wear anything. It's just the fact that, like, young children, even my son who's 2 now, he doesn't care that much. Like, I will ask him, what do you want to wear today? But he will just pick. And when I'm shopping with him, of course, I like offer him things. I show him things that I like, but if he ever doesn't want to wear that anymore, it's fine. He can choose what he wants. But for as long as I get to choose, these are the pieces that I really like. And I love to see that my son definitely got my knack for vintage pieces. He loves to go thrifting with me. Next pieces are all for my son or for my daughter when she will eventually grow into them. I got him this little shirt, which is so sweet. I don't know, I really like the color. It looks so small on the camera, but he wore it already. It's his size, and it's really, really sweet. And I love this blue. It's just such a vibrant and fun color. Then I got him 2 blouses, or them. The 3 pieces that I still have to show you are all too big, so they're gonna grow into these eventually. I got this little blouse. I swear I would have loved to wear all these pieces. These are so great. So yeah, whenever I find something like this that is just so special, and I know that these are the pieces that usually get left behind at thrift stores. Like, people want the name brand things, the like Baby Gap or whatever things, and no one likes these old things, and they often then get tossed at some point. And there's nothing wrong with like buying more modern vintage clothes. It's just that I want to keep these and like give them a new life, because this is like such a great material as well. It's a thick cotton, and this is such a lovely blouse, so cannot wait to see them in this. And then I'm sure the same person most likely donated this one as well. And this one is only like a little big on my son. He already wore it once because he really loves it. It's still a little big, but it's also starting to get quite hot here. So I think once fall approaches, he can wear this, and it's going to be the sweetest thing. Now, this isn't vintage, it's H&M, but I needed to get it because you can raise them on like a good taste in music. My son loves music from the 60s and 70s. I mean, he also loves children's music, but we listen to like a lot of 60s and 70s music around here. He loves it. He likes the Rolling Stones. Jumping Jack Flash is probably his favorite Stone song. So got him this, and he loved it because of the tongue and the mouth. He just thought that was hilarious. And then last but not least, I got them this, which I know that this is quite big and no one will fit this until they're like, I don't know, maybe even 10 or something. I'm trying to think which children I know in this size, but it's a 70s denim shirt in prime condition with red seams and red buttons and embroidery up here, embroidery back here. And all of these pieces were just like $2 or $3, so obviously I needed to get them. And so I'm just gonna, I have like bins up in the attic where I keep things sorted by size, so I know my son's outgrown one size, so I go up there and I see what we have, also just from what family and friends gifted us and handed down to us over the years. So that is always where I look before I go out and buy anything for them. But yeah, that is my vintage show and tell of wonderful maternity pieces and baby clothes. I really hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you want more of these like vintage show and tells of like things that I own and like collections that I have. I could do this with accessories, shoes, whatever you'd be interested in. But yeah, I love to give you glimpses into my collection of vintage pieces. Also, if anyone still has maternity pieces from the 60s and 70s and you're looking to sell them or give them away, please reach out. I always have my email in the description box and I would absolutely love to give them a new life. If you enjoyed the video, I would love you to give it a thumbs up and maybe even share it with a friend. It supports me, it supports the channel, and it would mean the world. If you like all things 60s and 70s, subscribe, stick around. I make videos about the fashion, the music, the art, the makeup of the 60s and 70s all the time, and I would love to have you around. I hope you have a beautiful day. Go out, enjoy the sunshine, take yourself some time to focus on you and your mental health today, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, dolls!